So I'm not even going to do a cute intro this morning. I'm just going to say there's a new Pebble. Her name is Rosie. And here are photos of her. So in previous weeks, week 11, by the way, I'm not going to do feet. I don't have toe, finger, shoes, like whatever they're called, like Doug has. But I've talked in the past about being better. And this week I want to talk about something that I've learned over the past year after starting a podcast is to, for lack of a better description, just do something, do anything. So I'm coming at this from a couple different ways. Doug and I have known each other for 4 years now, and it took us 2 years basically, because one of the first conversations that we had was about having a longer form of media somehow, whether it's video, audio, whatever, to address trail statuses and things like that within Cora, our local IMBA chapter. And it took us 2 years to get there. And honestly, what it took was just us leaping and doing it and saying, let's figure it out and we'll fail and we will be fine. And you guys really buoyed us along the way by showing us the things that were working and the things that weren't working, just by your downloads and by your suggestions and all of that stuff. And you guys were really helpful in us staying on top of the podcast and continuing to find new interesting guests and ask them questions that they haven't been asked before and try and provide some unique form of communication. And if we would have waited until we had the perfect idea or the perfect name, which I think the name is pretty damn good, or if all of those things, if we waited until all of those things were perfect, we never would have done it. And we would have just been another couple people who had an idea and never went and executed it and had a laundry list of what ifs. Well, if we would have made our thing, we could have been that. Or if we would have done this thing, we could have been that. And at some point, you just have to do something. And there's a lot of things that in the last couple years that have kind of led me to this, because I've always been somebody that is full-on paralysis by analysis. Like, I've admitted that on previous videos before, and talking about data and training and all this stuff, and being so in my head and analytical, and that's who I am. So, like, for me to, after 36 years, start to say things like, you have to just jump, and sometimes you just need to take an opportunity and send it, is a big thing. And it doesn't, I don't say that lightly, because it applies to a lot of things. So starting with doing video, this is incredibly hard for me to talk to a camera and there's no one there. I mean, Doug's kind of off the background, but I'm talking to you guys because I'm trying to share what my thoughts are and give you a little bit more depth about who I am when you hear me talking on the show. And that's difficult, but I just have to keep doing it. And each week it gets a little bit better and it gets a little bit better. And your guys' comments make me feel like I'm getting there and I'm providing a little bit more depth to the show, because that's really what this is all about, is giving you guys a little bit more insight as to who we are. But it goes well beyond any of like selfish endeavors. Is, well, I think we should build trail here, or, well, I think there should be a bike connector there, or you should put a red bike station there, or we should have X, or we shouldn't have this, or whatever. Do something. Like, stop taking from the system, stop complaining about the system, and figure out something to do. Because like we talked with way back, we talked with Joe Nickel from Yard & Co., and his statement, it took a while to really resonate with me, but it was 10 feet now is better than a mile never. Because there's so many projects that people have that they're these grand ideas that would be amazing to execute, but they're so big and it's such a big pie that no one can ever bake it, so it never happens. But if you take the approach of you eat an elephant one bite at a time, take those small steps. Talk about Mount Airy or something like that. Yeah, when Mount Airy opens, it's going to be a couple miles of trail. It could be 30 miles of trail with lift access, and it could be this whole destination, but you have to start somewhere. So if you have a complaint about our show, if you have a complaint about your city's infrastructure, if you have a complaint about your region's trail system, do something. Find the people to get involved with and show up and make your voice heard. It's just like they say it when voting time comes around, is make your voice heard by, casting your ballot, or make your voice heard in the bike industry by supporting companies that you believe in, and you believe in what their marketing is all about, and how they treat their employees and how they approach product design and things like that. That's how you make change. It's not by, very rarely do people come around that one person can just stroke a check and make an environment different. And yeah, you're going to cite Bentonville. It's a great example, but it's to me, it's the exception that proves the rule in this case, that is so rare that a family is willing to come in and spend millions of dollars to build all of this infrastructure for a region. And yeah, it gives us something to shoot for, but until we have a Walton family come into the greater Cincinnati region to stroke checks, we're going to have to do that one step at a time. So if you're not happy about something, show up, do something. If you want more of something, show up, do something. If you think that there's an outage in the bike industry or in your job or in your life or anything, show up and do something. So that's kind of my thought this week, and it's been something that's been cooking with me for a while, and Doug talked about doing the evaluations this week with Beyond Exercise and his takeaways from that, and so go check out that video. But this is something that I really take away from it, because I'm wired very similarly to Doug in the sense that going into an evaluation, I was nervous. I was, you're putting yourself on display for somebody to see all of your weaknesses, but in all reality, all of these things that we've done over the past couple years between Cora and the gravel lot and everything that spawned from that, it really makes me okay with people seeing my flaws and understanding that I'm a process. Everything about me is a process. Next week, I'll be better than I am this week, just like I am at work and just like hopefully the podcast is. So it's because I'm continuing to show up, and I'm continuing to try and make myself a better human every day and try and make the people around me thankful that they allow me to be a part of their life. So that's where I'm at this week. So feel free to leave your comments below, click the bell for the notifications, be sure to subscribe, share this with your friends, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, wherever you find it, wherever you get it. Go find us on YouTube or subscribe, whatever, and listen to this week's episode. So I think you're going to enjoy it. And that's all for me this week. So I will see you guys next week. Peace.